Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I am participating in a collaboration with other homeschool YouTube mamas, just letting you get to know us a little bit. So this is 21 questions, this or that. Please check out the link to the playlist in the description below. This collaboration is hosted by Davina at Calm in the Chaos and Shauna at Homegrown Homeschool, and I'll have their channel links below as well. So check those out. I have my paper today, just the same questions. We're all going to be answering the same 21 questions. And I'm going to try not to take too long on each one so this video doesn't go out of control long, but just kind of get you a feel for who I am and a few things about me. So the first one is, do I prefer to walk slow or walk fast? And I would say walk slow, mainly because I am so out of shape. It's pathetic. My last little kiddo is just about 14, 15 months old. And yeah, I am still not back to normal after having him. And even before that, I've never been much into a lot of exercise. So definitely a leisurely stroll is my preference. Next one, art museum or history museum? And I would have to say history museum. I like the fact that I'm learning something about the past and what really happened to people. And not to mention with art museums, especially with my family, I'm always just a little bit aware that I may come across some nude art or something of that nature. And I'd rather not deal with that. So history museum would be my preference. Beach or pool? The beach. I grew up on the beach, maybe 5 minutes away, and we would go down there all the time. And now that I don't live near the beach, we're like 14 hours away, I miss it. And I feel like such a terrible mom because my 3-year-old doesn't even know what the ocean looks like. And she points to these irrigation canals, the ocean, the ocean. I'm like, oh my goodness. She has no clue. So we are taking her to the beach this summer. That is on the list to do. So definitely beach. And especially where I grew up on the Pacific coast, northern Pacific coast, where it's cold, beaches are so not crowded, and I prefer that to the crowded of a pool. So that's my preference. The next question is less of a this or that and more just a kind of a question. Discuss socialization and how your children are to keep up with others on that. And that's an interesting, so I was homeschooled all the way, and I don't feel like I had any trouble with socialization or keeping up. And I think maybe part of that is being intentional as a mom with your children. So take them out. Don't just stay home all the time. Actually give them opportunities to mingle with people. And I would argue that maybe homeschool kids have opportunities for better socialization than their public school peers, because in public school, children are with their same age group all day long. They don't interact with old people. They don't interact with people younger than them. They are just in their group. And so I think for homeschoolers, we have the opportunity to get them out and let them interact with old people and learn how to interact with them, let them interact with middle age. They can interact with all the age ranges just in their outings and participating in my life and the volunteer work I do in our church. And I think they have opportunities to learn how to interact with a larger gap of people in different situations than they would in public school. And I think another part to just being intentional is not letting your children hide behind you. And that's a tricky one because at my children's age, they're young and they're shy, and that's okay. And I don't want to force them to be overly friendly with a stranger because there's also dangers in that. But at the same time, my child can learn to say please and thank you to somebody when they're making a request. They can learn to ask the request by themselves versus me asking it for them. They can learn to answer a question when it's civilly given. And just learning that they can't hide behind me and I'm not going to speak for them, I think kind of just starts that process of socialization and teaches them. And especially when I'm right there, it's a very safe environment, but it's just kind of beginning that step of learning just how to interact on a normal place. And I think another thing that really helped me as a young teenager, I would say, is letting your children get out of the house for job opportunities. And I know until they're like 14 or 15, they can't legally have like a full-time job, but I got out and house cleaned for people, and I would do miscellaneous jobs that were less work and more just me trying to earn some extra cash. And I think letting your child get out and do that on their own without you in a safe environment forces them to have to interact with people themselves and learn how to kind of socialize. And then as a younger teen, when I got my first job in customer service, man, a job in customer service is amazing for teaching you how to put somebody else at their ease. And so I think those are tips I would use. And then also I would say teaching your child to genuinely care about people. I think plays into it, right? Because your child can come into a situation and think all about themselves and how uncomfortable they are and they're just not going to participate. Or they can come into a situation and think about another person and recognize another child across the room who's shy and having a hard time and care enough about somebody else to step out of their own shell. So I think that's a piece of it. But I would say overall, intentionality is going to be key in that. And I don't think it's an issue that cannot be surmounted by homeschool people. I'm not worried about it, but I do think I need to be intentional about it. Okay, next question. Do I prefer plans or surprises? Plans 100%. There are times and places for surprises, but I am an organized, planned person. I like things neatly in their boxes. I like to know what's happening weeks before they happen, which doesn't always work. And I'm trying to learn to be flexible, but I am definitely a planned person. I do not like to fly by the seat of my pants. Educational posters on the wall or none in our homeschool? I would say I lean towards the none, but we do have a board, like a cork board, over our table that I can pin things up that as we are studying something, I can apply. And I do like having that visual there. We don't have a homeschool room, so I'm not a fan of like just covering the wall in posters, but I do like having a specific place to put things that I want to visual for my children to talk about over dinner table or just to have them have that resource there. So kind of like maybe a little bit in between. Would I prefer to take a Sunday or a snow day in our school? I would say a snow day. We live in a hot area in the summer and we have a ton of sun. And even during the winter, we don't get a lot of rain. And we get some snow, but not overly tons. And so I would say a snow day is way more exciting for my children than a Sunday. And that's much more likely for us to do. Clothes on the floor or in the hamper, both. I prefer dirty clothes in the hamper, but then what do you do with the clothes that are like half dirty, half clean? And those kind of end up in a pile next to the hamper that I use, and then as they're dirty, they go into the hamper. So I kind of have like a pile on the floor / a pile in the hamper. But definitely in my kids' room, I prefer it to be in the hamper, and anywhere else in the house in the hamper. It's just my personal little stash of half-used clothes end up on the floor. Do I prefer physical planners or digital planners? Physical, I really like a pen and paper. I like being able to sit and spread it out in front of me and really like see what I'm doing. But to be fair, I also do make a lot of my planning pages on Excel and fill them out like halfway with things that are like anything that is the same week to week or just things that don't really change. I do like having the neatness of a digital planner and then printing that out and then a hand doing anything extra or anything that changes with each week. So I guess maybe a little bit of both, but I would say if I had to choose completely one or the other, I think I would go physical planner versus digital. Do I prefer a night out or a night in? A night out. I have 3 little kids. I have a toddler, I have a baby. I want a night out. I want to get away from the chaos, away from the work in the home and enjoy. And I'm a stay-at-home mom, and that makes a huge difference. When you're home all day, a night in is not as nice as a night out. Just changing of environment is just nice. Do I prefer art projects or science projects? I think science projects. I think I like the idea of art projects, but I'm just not a super crafty person, and I don't like the cleaning and the preparation. And I know there's cleaning and preparation in science projects too, but I think it excites me more to think about teaching my child a concept and them learning something from their project versus just enjoying the art. Though I like that my children enjoy art and I want to give them that, I think science projects probably excite me more. So next one is, do I prefer a vacation or a staycation? I would say vacation for the same reason that I prefer a night out. I am home a lot with my children and I like to get away. And I like to get away on a vacation when I have my husband around to help me with the kids. Definitely, let's get out. So that would be my present. Let's go see something new, do something different, get out of my routine and enjoy that. Do I prefer loose guidelines or clear directions? Clear directions, 100%. I feel like if I have clear directions, then I can be comfortable enough in my subject or area or whatever we're talking about to stray from those directions and do my own things because I know exactly what I'm trying to do. If I have loose guidelines, then I feel like I have a lot more guessing at what I'm supposed to be trying, even what the goal is. And then I feel like I have a harder time straying from the guidelines. I feel like I have to just be more aware of that. So I would definitely prefer clear directions that I can then understand, know what the goal is, and then either follow it if I like how it's laid out or branch off from there. But I would definitely prefer to have it just written out so I know what I'm trying to achieve. Do I prefer winter or summer? summer, I would say, just because I feel like you can get out and do more, especially with little kids. Like letting them have the run of the outside is so much nicer. In the summer, it's just warm and they can enjoy that. Whereas in the winter here, it's pretty cold and it's just not as fun. And so the kids are cooped up inside more. And then I feel like also on the weekends, we can do more as a family when my husband's off work. I just feel like it's a more enjoyable season as far as being able to get out and do things. So I would say summer. Plan a field trip, or would I prefer to plan a co-op lesson? Neither. But if I had to choose, I think I would prefer to plan a field trip. To be fair, though, we haven't really done much in the area of co-op or field trips with other people, so I don't really have experience with either one of those at this point, but just mentally, a field trip sounds less intimidating to me. Would I prefer to clean as I cook or clean at the end? A mix of things. I prefer to clean as I go, except the dishes. I want to do all the dishes after the meal. So I'd like to clean up the counters, put everything away. I want my counters to be neat as I am cooking and as I'm doing stuff, but then I don't do like all the dishes as I go. So kind of half and half, I guess. Would I prefer to read fiction or nonfiction? Again, it's so hard to answer some of these. I would say fiction for purely enjoyable relaxation reading, like just when I want that downtime, fiction. But there's some nonfiction that I love. I love biographies. I like learning. I like a lot of I like apologetic theological type books just to kind of get my mind working and thinking about things. I enjoy books about parenting that kind of help me and challenge me. But if I'm going to just sit down and just chill, fiction is probably what I would default towards. And I love reading. It's a gift I want to give my children, the love of reading, because there is so much to explore in that. So next, 18, would I like pizza or tacos? While I love both, I think I would lean towards pizza. Although both are really good. And it maybe would depend if I'm doing it at home myself, then pizza. If we're going out to like a really nice taco bar, maybe I would go towards tacos. So I guess it depends. Cheap pizza, really nice. Maybe tacos, but a really nice pizza, like a fire baked pizza is also amazing. So I don't know. Would I prefer a laminator or a binding system? So I have one and I want the other. I have a binding system and I do use it, though not as much as I thought I would. And I want a laminator. And I think if I had to choose between the two, I think I might default towards a laminator at this point. Just because I haven't used the binding system as much as I want. And that's partly because I changed the way I do things and I use more of a daily binder with my kids now. And so I'm not making a complete workbook as often. So I don't use it the way I would like. I use it mainly for teachers' manuals or planners. And I think a laminator would come in handy a lot. So I think maybe laminator. Do I prefer roller coasters or water slides? Neither. I'm not a very adventurous person. I don't like heights. I don't swim really well. And so neither of those sound very appealing to me. So I'm just boring. I'll stay on the ground and my family can go do those. And I'll watch the baby or the pet or whatever, whoever can't go on the slide or the roller coaster at the time. And then lastly, do I prefer car schooling or outdoor schooling? And I would say probably car schooling, mainly because we do travel a lot during the year. We don't live near family, and so we make several trips throughout the year to go see family. And so I think I'm going to end up being more of a car schooling person just because we're going to have long trips and I might as well take advantage of those and not waste too much time. And outdoor schooling, I mean, maybe we'll do it some. It seems distracting to me. And yeah, I think I would default to car schooling, just who I am. And I think what our schedule will look like as we get busier. So that is 21 questions. So now you know a little bit more about my preferences and what I like and who I am. I hope you enjoy it. Again, don't forget that there is a playlist link below for this collaboration. So check out other homeschool moms and what their preferences are and just kind of get to know them as well. I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, subscribe, help me out. And I hope that you have a great week and we'll see you again next time.